Getting started in business is one thing, but what do you do after you decide to sell it? That's a question many probably don't think about, or at least should give more thought to. And joining us to discuss this topic is Seth Streeter, President and co-founder of Mission Wealth Management. Thank you for coming in. Interesting topic here. Something people just don't think about. That's why we have you here. When should somebody start thinking about this process?
Well, CJ, like with any planning, whether it's retirement planning or funding your child's college education or purchasing a home, you actually should begin the planning process years before you actually are ready to sell your business. And the reason for that is there's a lot of positioning and marketing of your business that's important to make sure that the sale goes through smoothly and that the transition after can go through smoothly as well.
And maximize what you could get for your business?
Exactly, exactly. And to make sure you set up your team of advisors. Oftentimes, business owners think they need to have a corporate attorney and maybe an investment banker or broker, but it's important that they have their personal advisors in place as well. A financial planner to kind of be the quarterback of the transition from business wealth to personal wealth, as well as your tax advisors and an estate planning attorney.
Are we talking about small companies to medium-sized companies, anybody who owns
all size companies? You know, it's amazing. Only 20 to 30% of all companies survive beyond the first year of business, and only 10 to 15% of companies survive beyond 5 years of business. So it's really any size of business. If you've been able to be successful to get to a point where you're ready to sell, whether it's a small one-man shop or a larger enterprise, you make sure that planning goes into it.
Okay, so business owner, build up the business, they sell it, what happens next?
A lot happens, but to try to categorize it, we found there's really 3 general phases that business owners go through. A look-back phase, kind of a present-day assessment phase, and then a look-forward phase. And I'd be happy to kind of share a couple blurbs on each of those phases.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, if you look, I mean, if you sold the business, what are you looking for? I mean, if you're talking business-wise, what should you be looking at?
Well, it's interesting.
You think it's over.
The look forward, you think it's over, but all of a sudden, you're the business owner of your wealth. So you've been the CEO of your company, which you probably manage very carefully, and now you have this event, and all of a sudden you've harvested wealth. What do you do? So you now have to be a business owner of your wealth, and you need to have a strategic plan, you need to have a team in place, and you need to make sure you implement that plan.
So the question is, you got all this money, you just sold the business, what do you do?
Well, it's interesting. First, people kind of look back, and first they have a huge sigh of relief because it's usually a pretty stressful process to go through. But right after that point of relief, they often feel a real sense of loss, almost like losing a loved one, because this business gave them purpose and meaning in their life, and now they're saying, well, what's next? So once they kind of go through a mourning process, then they usually go through kind of a celebration. And like I said, very few people get to this point, so they should really feel good about what they did and now start to look forward.
Do you see, just from your experience, that many people, I can understand the letdown. They put their everything into this, their heart, their soul into this business. It succeeded, they sold it, they got their money. They sit back and all of a sudden they're like, okay, what do I do?
Right.
Do you see many of them turn around and go back and start a new business?
Absolutely. It's interesting because many business owners don't have a lot of hobbies outside the business, and so they have a lot of fantasy when it comes to, I'm going to play golf and travel the world and, you know, pick up a new hobby. And usually 3 months to a year after they sell the business, they're driving themselves crazy, they're driving their spouses crazy, and they're looking for the next enterprise.
So they've got to start this process all over again. You said it's stressful, but they're willing to jump right back into it and do it over.
It's part of their DNA often. An entrepreneur, it's just in their blood to want to do it again. But the key part is no matter what, they're going to carve off a portion of these proceeds, hopefully, toward kind of current needs and some future planning needs so that they can secure their retirement and at least one day work by choice if they want to keep working.
Now, so somebody who's gone through this process once, they're going to start going into it again. How do they, what do they do differently? I mean, how do they look at this differently? They probably do, I would imagine.
Oh, they absolutely do. And they learn from each time, hopefully. You know, hopefully we all learn from our mistakes and from our successes. Usually what they do is they try to treat it a little bit more detached from themselves. They try to systematize the business a little bit more and set it up so it can run more efficiently. When it comes to the management of their wealth from the first sale of their company, they usually try to put the funds into categories. So kind of immediate needs, long-term needs, taxes, and I usually try to get them to define what percentage of their wealth that they've harvested they're willing to reinvest into a new private equity enterprise so that they don't put all the chips back on the table again into what can be a very risky business.
You know, we've talked about somebody who built a business up and then sold it, but what about people who have never owned a business before? And they're just kind of going through the weeds here trying to figure out what to do. What kind of advice should you give them, somebody who's just starting out for the first time?
With regard to starting a business of their own?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it's important for them to know that it can be done, and that there's wonderful stories out there of many people that have been quite successful in starting their business. So it starts with something that you're passionate about. Don't go into business because you think you can make money. Go into business because you care about something and you're passionate. And if you're really passionate about something, there's always a way to make money. So find a cause or a purpose that you believe in, and then find a niche and then go after it.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. What an interesting topic here. This is something most people probably just would not have thought about. Now, how many business owners now are sitting around going, oh my gosh, I got to start over again. All right, thank you, Seth. Seth Streeter, here's his information. Mission Wealth Management. The number there, 882-2360. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.